Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, boom, boom, boom!
What a mark.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Accidental Wrestling Fan. In the virtual TAWF studio, it's Damon, Lino, Kaz, and John. Lino is joining us by phone to give us that TAWF 97.1 feel again.
Dun dun dun.
How you guys doing? Lino, you want to go first since you can't see us to have the visual cue?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm doing good. Enjoyed WrestleMania. I think this is my first post WrestleMania show, so I enjoyed that. I watched AEW Dynamite last night. Doing good. Did not celebrate 420. That's not my deal, but if you did, hope you had a great 420 to those listeners out there.
Yeah, it was a historic 420 for things that weren't necessarily 420 related. I didn't really get a chance to celebrate in the weed. I stayed off the weed. I did have a lot of wine though to celebrate a historic court decision, and I will leave it at that. Cheers. So
we're not talking about the band 3 count either.
Oh, that motherfucker's not kicking out. That motherfucker got buried. They sent his ass to OVW in the box. Told his ass to hit bricks. They released him and did not wish him well in his future.
No, I was gonna say no well wishes in future endeavors, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It just said Derek Chauvin has been released. And that was that. See you later. So we're gonna talk about some people that are all a lot cooler. Like literally everyone we're gonna talk about is cooler than Derek Chauvin. Well, maybe
even the bad one.
I was gonna say maybe there's one of them who's pretty bad. They might be on the same level. They're on the same level, but yeah.
Who's worse? I'm joking.
Oh boy, I don't know how to say this.
Sounds like a question they ask you in the ethics class. Like,
you gotta pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then depending on what you pick, like the way you pick it is how you get the right answer. Ethics is fucking weird, man. I got like a C- in that shit. It's a weird ass class. Sorry for anyone out there that listens to this podcast and is in college and has to take ethics, especially at Wayne State. Good luck.
Yeah.
God bless.
That's the luck.
Yeah. So onto the topic of wrestling. We're going to talk about the legendary Four Horsemen, but we're not going to do necessarily a retrospective of it like we've done with other people. We're going to do a ranking of the best horsemen. So I wanted to ask you guys, should we rank Ric and Arn? I feel like they should be exempt because they'd be like 1A and 1B.
Yeah, right.
Like who's not picking Ric and Arn as one of their top two or in the top?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that goes without saying, right? Like it's
like who the fuck
they're
like,
up there.
My favorite horseman's Ole Anderson. No one's gonna say that. No one's gonna pick him.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know that much about the Four Horsemen to be completely. I mean, of course, I know who they are and blah blah blah. But growing up, I wasn't a WCW guy or an NWA guy. I just didn't follow it. So forgive me if I'm not so knowledgeable in the topic like you guys are, because I know all three of you know your shit about the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, the Four Horsemen was kind of a staple of my childhood. growing up watching a lot of WCW. When I was first watching wrestling, though, the Four Horsemen actually wasn't a thing. My first introduction to the Four Horsemen was the weird 1993 version where there's only three of them. Where Ole only showed up for, I think, like one appearance. I think it was like a Slamboree or a random Flair for the gold.
Yeah.
So when I first started watching wrestling, the Dangerous Alliance was the thing. They were the
Oh,
main
yeah.
heel stable of WCW. So that's why I have such a soft spot for the Dangerous Alliance. Now, the Horsemen ceased to not cease to exist, but I lived a fairly long time before I got like a true Horseman run. I didn't get what until '96 when they did that run with was it Pillman or '95 rather, Pillman, Benoit, Arn, Flair. That was the one that I got. So
Yeah, right.
Was Mongo in there when you got into it?
I mean, that came after.
yeah, that came after that one because Pillman left and they
Okay.
replaced him with Mongo. So
Yeah.
That's right. Wow,
Yeah,
what a
man.
replacement.
what a replacement.
For the better, am I right?
Oh, he's an NFL player. We'll replace him with another NFL player.
So I gotta say that there's been some incarnations of the Horsemen that have been very interesting, like almost like different lineups of basketball teams. Like I joke, like the '91 version with Arn, Rick, Barry Windham, and Sid is like when a basketball team just puts all their big guys out on the floor. This is like their biggest version. But I know the version that most people seem to like the most is the third version, which is Rick, Arn, Barry, and Tully.
Yeah, right.
They believe that's like the best in ring version of it.
Gosh, I
would-
think that might have
That's
been
who went into the
like the
Hall,
version
too.
that I knew.
Yeah, that's the one from the Hall of Fame. I believe Lino was just saying. It's kind of wild that Luger didn't go in as a Horseman. Is Luger still out of the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's not in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird too, because I know he's been doing a lot of stuff with WWE behind the scenes. So I wonder if maybe they asked him and he said no, not yet, or I don't know, because that's just weird to me that he wouldn't be involved.
I think he's got one of those WWE Icons episodes coming out, so maybe they might do it next year.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna do, and I apologize if anyone hears any squeaking in the background. my dog's got a squeaky toy.
Hey, it's
Sure.
bring your kid to work day today, actually, so it works.
Yeah, it is, but we'll have to power through it. So, getting back on track here, we were saying like Rick and Arn 1A, 1B. We got to rank the rest of these guys.
Yeah, right. And that was the thing too, like, because when I was originally thinking of it, it actually was a Mongo video popped up on YouTube, and I completely forgot that Mongo was in, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And that was like one of the official WCW toy lines when they released them, was that Flair, Mongo, Dean Malenko, and Chris Benoit 4-pack. And it's just so weird that Mongo of all people was in the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, like just on paper, he had no pro wrestling experience. He was a former Chicago Bears football player, and it's just some reason they thought he fit with his personality and the way he carried himself. They thought he'd be a good fit, and I don't think Mongo is the worst Horseman. I wouldn't put him at my top. He would
Yeah,
probably
right.
maybe like he would be at the bottom, but he wouldn't be dead last. I don't think he's the worst.
Yeah, that was another thing that I was thinking of. Like, okay, when we're ranking them, are we ranking them as an individual, or are we ranking them within the Horsemen? And it kind of makes more sense to rank them as a legitimate Horseman than as a wrestler, because in that regard, I think the list could be changed depending
yeah.
on
If you rank them based on their in-ring work, they would be very top heavy because there are some work horses, for lack of a better term, that have been in the ranks of the Four Horsemen. It'd be like Flair, Arn, Benoit, Hennig. Like it would be a crazy like top heavy lineup if you did it on their in ring work. But in the ranks of the Horsemen, like Kurt Hennig, I wouldn't put him near the top. I would probably
Yeah.
put him near the bottom too because he wasn't in it that long. He was in it for a month.
Yeah, which is crazy. That's crazy to think. Like there were some guys that it just blew my mind. I completely forgot that they were even horsemen. Jeff Jarrett was another one for whatever reason. I don't know. My mind just kind of went blank on it. I was like, what? He was a horseman? And then, oh yeah, he was.
So I got to ask you a question about this. And Lino, please feel free to chime in. I thought Jarrett was never officially a horseman. When was he officially considered a horseman? I thought he was an associate member. In the documentary they did back in the day, they didn't talk about him. They treat him as like a joke guy.
Yeah, right.
But now he's considered part of the Horsemen.
I only remember him feuding with the Horsemen. I don't remember him like that era. I was watching more WWF at the time, but I remember him, feuding with Mongo, doing feuds with the Horsemen, but I can't recall any specific moments of him actually being in the Horsemen. And Henning is the same way. We have a list here, and I was going through it. I'm like, wait, I never knew that Kurt Hennig was in the Four Horsemen, and then I'm like, oh, it was 20 days. But yeah, Jared, I can't recall a single specific moment of him being in the Horsemen, so I couldn't even tell you how long he was in it.
So according to Wikipedia here, Flair officially made him a Horseman in February of 1997, but he was only in the group for 5 months because he got kicked out, or 4 months, excuse me. He got kicked out because there was so much infighting between him and Mongo. And then, of course, in Arn Anderson's biography, he stated that Jeff Jarrett was never a Horseman. Because typically when you're a Horseman and you get kicked out of the group, they beat the shit out of you, but they let him walk. So it was very weird, tumultuous period of the Horsemen. I will say that. So
yeah, it is. It's just weird, and the fact that the Mongo thing came up and their feud, because that was one of the things that also was brought up when I was watching the Mongo McMichael video, was both of them doing the strut, and I was like, wait, what? And some memories are a little fuzzy with things, but it still is just kind of weird to me, and having past recollection of memories pop up sporadically while watching this, and I'm going, this is just insane, man.
Go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as far as like work rate guys go, what about Paul Roma?
I rate Paul Roma a lot higher than a lot of other people do.
Yeah, how high is he on your guys' list as far as a Horseman goes?
As far as a Horseman go, I would probably put him maybe more towards the middle, because on paper, like the way he carried himself, his physique, the way he talked, like his athleticism, everything, it screamed Horseman. But you have to be such a colossal asshole where Ric Flair and Arn Anderson's like, nah, dude, we don't want this guy in our group.
Yeah.
Like if you look at some of the shit that Paul Roman was doing at WCW, like all these crazy athletic feats, like it seemed like he would have been a perfect fit, but I just, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there were only 3, and Paul Roman was never really a big name. People kind of consider him like a low level, even maybe dare say job guy.
Do you think his style of wrestling in the ring is something that kind of maybe didn't fit the Horseman gimmick in a sense? Because he was so kind of like borderline like high flyer type guy.
At the time, I would definitely say it was a real outlier. I mean, I know Barry Windham did a lot of top rope lariats. He did the suplex off the ropes and everything, but I definitely think maybe his style too was a little off-putting back in 1993, because I mean, you see some of the shit that he did if you go watch Paul Roma clips, like jumping up from the mat up to the ropes and jumping off. Like he was unbelievably athletic. You weren't seeing too many guys. Like Ole Anderson, did he ever fucking leave his feet?
So, there's no way.
No.
Yeah. Ole Anderson probably hated Paul Roman because he did a move off the ropes. It's the shits.
That's the screaming shit.
So I will put Roma more in the middle. I guess
Yeah.
should we talk about who each of us thinks is the worst horseman?
Yeah, that's a good way of going. I like that.
Yeah, because everyone knows who the good ones are. Like everyone's gonna put Malenko and Benoit at the top. They'll put Barry at the top. You know, Tully, of course. I would
Mhm.
probably put him at number 3,
Yeah,
just
right.
based on his character alone.
Yeah.
I would go, I guess, like just to kind of spoil it. Like 1A, 1B is Rick and Arn. After that, it'd be Barry and Tully. But the worst horseman of all time to me is Sting. 100% Sting. It makes no sense from a kayfabe perspective. His personality doesn't fit. His style didn't fit. He was such a babyface, and the Horsemen were always considered such heels. It just, I hated it. I mean, obviously, I don't remember what happened at the time when Sting was a Horseman because I was like fucking 2 when he was in there. But I don't. Sting as a Horseman sucked. Like Paul
Why?
Roma.
Why was he a horseman?
I think it was more of a kayfabe thing, just to fire up the feud with him and Flair again, because they wanted to get the
Okay.
belt on it, and they said give up your title shot, and he wouldn't give it up, so they jumped him. So I feel like it was more of a kayfabe thing. Plus, they had to clean up everything with JTEX and the Yamazaki Corporation because there was no Horseman, and Flair was kind of intermingled, and they turned on him, and he was feuding with Terry Funk and Muda. So I know they did that to kind of clean things up, and uh, Arn had just come back from WWF, so he was going to be kind of over. So they figured it would make more sense to have them be heels and take care of that business. But yeah, I think Sting's for sure the worst horseman. Nothing about Sting fits as a horseman whatsoever. Strange choice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you look at it from that perspective, I mean, I would agree. It doesn't, none of it makes sense to have Sting like involved with this group whatsoever. If I had to be different, I guess I would go with Jeff Jarrett, just because that's kind of such an odd one, to have him in the group, and to have like, oh, Flair took a liking to Jarrett, and so now he's in it. And I know some people felt Jarrett was just kind of like a great value, Ric Flair in some sense. I don't know. Like it just, it was almost, and it's that period of WCW too. Like we're in '97, but like you're starting to see Jarrett rise. And I know that's also another thing too within the wrestling community was, oh, do you consider Jarrett a main talent or not? Um, I, I don't, and that's no offense to him. I don't think he's a bad wrestler whatsoever. But it just, I don't know what it was. I never really, as a fan, there was nothing passionate about him that made me go, oh yeah, that's a guy that I want to see in the main event. And so like the same thing by that time too, like the Four Horsemen thing, it's just like, oh man, this is kind of being overplayed even. Is it going to die out again now? Are we just grasping at straws? What are we trying to do here? So yeah, I guess to make things different, I would say Jeff Jarrett, but in a kayfabe, like everything that you mentioned about Sting being a horseman totally hits it.
Yeah. I agree with your points on Jarrett because on paper, at least in my opinion, you see a guy like Jeff Jarrett, the way he wrestled, the way he looked, everything like that. It seemed like he would have been a good fit for
Yeah,
the
right.
Horsemen, but he
Yeah.
just wasn't. Uh, and again, I don't know how much of that is part of storyline reasons, or they're just like, ooh, people aren't really behind this. We'll have to make some changes, and then I would put Kurt Hennig again towards the bottom because it's more of a storyline thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really rank him too highly as a Horseman. Again, I wish he was in the Horseman for a little while longer than he was. I think I would have kind of had the heel turn carry a little bit more weight when he did turn on them.
Yeah.
But again, you see a name like Kurt Hennig and everything that he did in the ring, the way he carried himself. He seems like a perfect horseman, but that was not the case.
Again, like I said earlier, I'm not very knowledgeable with the Four Horsemen, but a name that comes to mind, and you guys will have to fill me in on it, his tenure as Sid Vicious. To me,
I was
like,
gonna say him.
again, you go ahead, Lino. Sid Vicious, like the guy, the wrestler, the gimmick, to me, like, does not fit the Four Horsemen. I could be wrong. Maybe he did, but
yeah. So at first, I was gonna say Kurt Hennig for all the reasons we just mentioned. Like, I loved Kurt Hennig in the ring. I mean, if we're talking late '80s, early '90s, he's one of my favorite guys from that era to watch in the ring. But for like his tenure in the Four Horsemen was so short that it didn't really make sense. Just the whole thing in kayfabe didn't really work. But then I'm like, okay, well, for all the reasons that Damon mentioned earlier about Sting not really belonging in the Four Horsemen from a kayfabe perspective, I'm like, well, you can say the same thing about Sid Vicious. I mean, it was kind of like he was the enforcer of the group, but you already had Arn Anderson, you already had Barry Windham, and he was brought in to feud with RoboCop. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh
Capital
my God,
Carnage,
yes.
the return of RoboCop.
Yeah, the RoboCop gimmick was why he was even brought in the first place. So it's like, you know, he wasn't really booked that well either. I mean, he was over at the time, but him being in the Four Horsemen just really didn't fit. And he was in there from 90 to 91. You know, you didn't need to do it. You already had, like I said, you had Windham. You know, you had Arn in that same time period. I know that Windham and Sid are more physically intimidating than Arn, but at the same time, Arn is the enforcer. He played that gimmick perfectly. I mean, you know, I'm a huge Arn Anderson guy, but yeah, if I had to pick one, it would be Sid. And that's another guy who I think for a big guy, he was pretty good. He had a good run in the NWA, but just for him to be in the Horsemen at that time period didn't really make sense to me.
So according to, again, just based on the Wikipedia that I'm reading, Sid was brought in to be the enforcer of the Horsemen in that early 90s run because I guess Ole was originally supposed to be the enforcer. Like Arn didn't get the enforcer thing until later on, like more towards the middle end of it, which is kind of wild because we all associate Arn as the enforcer. Is literally his nickname. But I guess
right.
they didn't really give him that nickname until later on. That's why they brought in Sid, which is kind of wild because everyone.
I never knew that. I thought he was always the enforcer.
Yeah, like Ole was kind of more of like the enforcer, heavy hitter type guy in the first incarnation. Well, I mean, I guess technically both him and Arn, but still, it's kind of wild that the whole reason why Sid was in the Horsemen is because they wanted to give them like an enforcer, heater type character, and they were feuding with some bigger guys like Luger and I guess Sting to a certain extent. And Doom, so they figured we got all these body guys, so let's give them a body guy. So they gave him Sid. So there you go.
Where would you guys put Ole Anderson in with it?
dude, I was just gonna say I've never seen 1 second of Ole Anderson working in the ring. I've never seen an Ole Anderson match ever. I've never seen him wrestle. I swear to God.
I've only ever seen Ole wrestle. I guess during the Horseman years.
When I hear Ole Anderson, I just the first thought is Booker.
Yeah, right. I
Not
think
wrestler.
Yeah,
but he was before our time. I mean, we're talking. He was probably the late '60s, '70s era.
Yeah. Well, Ole was like, even when Ole and Arn teamed up, Ole had like 10 years or so on him, an age difference, something like that. I could be wrong. I might be totally wrong, but I thought from what I remember reading or what Arn said, someone said like, oh yeah, at that time. But since Arn looked older than he was, it just fit naturally together.
Ole
to me,
is 16 years older than Arn.
16 years older?
1942. Arn was born in 1958.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know it was that big. But yeah, I was going to say, it was always reminded me. I don't know why, but I always felt like, especially with just the original creation, like Ole was the older brother that was like, hey, what are you guys doing? Can I be a part of it? And I was like, all right, I guess. Sure. Come on.
So the Ole and Arn, they flip flop a couple of times. They were supposed to be brothers, and then they were cousins, I think, at one point. And I think they were even uncle and nephew at one point as well. So I remember watching a build up, I think, of because the Ole wrestled a little bit in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing something where it's like Rick Steiner and his younger brother Rick take on brothers Ole and Arn and some random NWA thing on YouTube. Like they said Ole and Arn were brothers. I thought they were supposed to be cousins.
Yeah.
But
I think Arn talked about that too, like on his podcast, like in his introductory or something, when he was talking about how he got in the business and everything, which was the same. I believe you're right. Like I think there's just been brothers, cousins, and uncle and nephew.
And Rick is their cousin. He's kayfabe their cousin because Rick is he's originally from Minnesota, which is hilarious because they had Arn and Anderson who are associated with Minnesota, and Arn Anderson very clearly not from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So by that logic, Carl Anderson
Minnesota.
and Charlotte Flair are related.
Well, you know what's funny is Carl Anderson and Charlotte Flair are like actually good friends in real life.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. I believe, according to Andrade, the interview he did, Carl Anderson was the one that hooked him and Charlotte up.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess like Carl, in some ways, I guess kind of is an Anderson, really.
Nice. I like the it's almost like the McDuck family history line for Scrooge McDuck and DuckTales, yeah. Except it's the Flair and Anderson family line in wrestling, the kayfabe family tree.
Yeah, it's a very complicated family tree. There's Arn, Ole, Gene, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, Carl Anderson, C.W. Anderson, Ken Anderson, fucking who else?
There's a new guy on the indie scene that Arn gave him the blessing as long as he didn't screw up. The kid, I say kid, I don't know how old he is, but compared to Arn, the younger wrestler looks just like basically a reincarnation of him. And for the life of me, I can't remember what his name is, but Anderson, the last name.
So I found the Anderson family tree.
Oh, did you really? Gotta love wrestling fans, man.
We got storyline brothers, Gene, Ole, Lars, and Arn. They're all brothers. And then you've got Gene, because Gene and Ole were the original Minnesota.
The originals.
Crew. And then you've got Rick, who's their cousin. Then Brad Anderson, who's Gene Anderson's son. Bryant Anderson, who's Ole Anderson's son. Then you have David Reed and Charlotte Flair. Then other storyline relatives are Pat Anderson, who's Pat Connor in real life, C.W. Anderson, Carl Anderson, T.C. Anderson, and Andrew Anderson. I am not familiar with Pat, T.C., or Andrew, but there you go.
I'm wondering, and Andrew might be the, I don't know. Andy Anderson, yeah.
So let's see. Back to the Horseman ranking. Where do you guys rank? I want to say, let's go with Lex Luger. You putting him near the top? Middle?
Yeah, top middle, I would say. I mean,
yeah, he's only in the Horsemen for a few months. 1987. He wasn't in the group very long, but the Horsemen is definitely a group I associate him with.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I don't know if maybe that's just from being young, that same here. But from what I recall, it seemed he seemed to be a popular fit. And you know, I mean, if you compare, there's 15 members here. Like looking at this list, I don't know. I would still say top middle.
I think a lot of it too is like that storyline of when Luger first came to WCW. He was really heavily sought after. They did that whole free agent gimmick, and
Yeah.
they did the thing where they had him talk like he was like a college football player still, the way you would give his interviews and everything like that. And everything was about making money, blah, blah, blah. But JJ Dillon started to recruit him. He was an associate member starting in February '87. So that's where it started. And then he ended up getting kicked out like later that year.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he was teaming with Barry Windham in early '88. So he was only in the group for a little less than a year. It's crazy again
Which
because I associate him so heavily with being in the group.
Yeah, right. Same.
Barry Windham is another guy who, again, I associate heavily with being a horseman, which is crazy if you were around in the '80s, which I was not. For 9 months I was, but Barry Windham was someone who feuded with the Horsemen constantly. He teamed up with Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA and all those guys, and he was a constant thorn in the side of the Horsemen. So it was a big deal. If you guys get a chance, go on. I would say go on Peacock, but you probably can't find it. You just have to go on YouTube or something and watch the video of him turning heel on Lex Luger and costing them the tag titles to Tully and Arn. And it was a big shock back then. People couldn't believe that Barry Windham would join up with the Horsemen, but it worked because again, he's a dude that was a part of what many consider to be the best version of the Horsemen, which is him, Rick, Arn, and Tully.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Barry's up there. Barry's in the top.
Salino,
Do you think he was better as a Horseman member? Because he, in the middle of that run, he briefly left for the WWF. I mean, I remember him more for what he did before he left and then came back. Would you agree that I think that that little window of him being in the Horseman was better than the later one?
Oh, the first one when he was like Western States champion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like such a brief window of when he left and came back. It wasn't that long. Really trying to think.
Because there was never really like you got to earn your way back into the Horseman. He just rejoined and he was back in it.
Yeah, I guess that first version before he left was definitely like the elite version, like Horseman, fucking platinum, diamond all the way. I think when he came back, it was still good, but he came back to a weaker version. Not that it was a bad version, but I mean, when you had those guys that he was in with originally, and then you replace Tully with Sid. No offense to Sid, I love Sid, but as far as like what the Horsemen were as just like in ring tacticians, it was definitely a lesser version of the group. So yeah, I would say the first go around was definitely the better one.
Now, when was the Four Horsemen formed?
So they formed in 1985, but
Okay.
I can't remember when they actually were called the Four Horsemen because Rick, Ole, and Arn were all kind of loosely affiliated with each other. And when Rick started to feud with Dusty Rhodes, because a lot of people forget that Rick and Dusty were both faces when they started to feud with each other in the mid 80s. So when things started getting kind of heated with Rick and Dusty, that's when Rick started kind of teaming up with his cousins more. And, Tully started to get involved because he had issues with Dusty and everyone started having common enemies and they all decided to join up. Because if you watch some of those interviews before the Horsemen became a thing. Like Rick would talk shit to everybody. Like he would even talk shit to Tully, and Tully was managed by J.J. Dillon at the time, I believe, and then they all just decided to join up because they had so many common enemies. But
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't recall if it was Arn that came up with the name or Tully came up with the name.
I want to say Arn just said it off the cuff. in an
That was
interview.
it. I remember it was an
Yeah.
off the cuff moment, and then someone was like, "That's it." And that's what made it stick.
No,
I think
Yeah,
you're right.
that's what Flair said in his book.
What do you
It
think?
was
But
just real quick. He said it was during an interview that Arn just made an off-the-cuff comment saying the only time this much havoc had been wreaked by this few a number of people, you need to go all the way back to the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and then it just stuck.
man,
it's a
Arn.
great name.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What do you think they would call them now if the Horsemen were all wrestling now, the original version, and they decided to call them a stable or a faction because pro wrestling is obsessed with calling groups of people factions. But they
The
call them,
Burnett Boys.
get out of my head. I just wanted to say
WWE would
that.
come up with some name like Synergy or some dumb shit if it was WWE.
Sin. We'll spell it S-I-N. Synergy.
Well, in
Yeah,
today's
exactly.
in today's landscape, they probably wouldn't be called the Horsemen.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Wow. I'm trying to think. They don't call them like the Rough Riders or anything like that. But WWE will just call them like Team Anderson Family or some shit like that because everyone is a team. Or they'd call them the Flair Anderson Dynasty or some dumb shit.
It's the
because they-
Flandersons.
I was gonna say, you said they formed in '85,
Yes.
correct? So
Yeah.
let's pretend 1985 in WWF, the roster that they have. Could you name 4 guys in 1985 who were in WWF that could have possibly formed such a faction, and like the Horsemen, and have it make sense?
A group
like
Horsemen.
an LOD and Demolition thing,
Let's see. Let me
like their
go.
counterpart to the Horsemen.
Yeah, or was there already? Am I?
I'm trying to look up.
I was just gonna say,
the
like, I'm
roster
thinking
list.
like Orndorff.
Yeah, definitely.
Roddy.
Paul.
Was Kim Patera still?
Orton.
Yeah, Orton.
And those guys are already kind of running together.
Yeah. Let's see. I would do just guys that were a version of the Horsemen in 1985. I would do like Bob Orton, Greg Valentine.
Valentine.
I would have said Mike Rotundo, but he was a face. Him and Barry were the U.S.
Yeah.
Express.
Yeah, right. That's what I was trying to remember. Who was face at the time in '85?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it'd probably be like I said, Valentine. Who would say Valentine, Orton, Roddy, and Orndorff. Even though they're all kind of all loosely affiliated.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have like a heavy hitter type guy, I could say you throw Don Morocco in there.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Or if you needed a tag team, you could do the Hart Foundation. Even though they were technically a stable.
Were they there in '85?
Yeah, they were there. I'm
wow.
I'm gonna send you guys a link in the chat from
Was
the SmackDown
Rick
Hotel.
Rick Rude?
No, he was still in World Class.
Okay.
Yeah, he was still doing the territory thing. So I almost said DiBiase, but he was still in Mid South.
He's kind of got Horseman written all over him. Rick Rude.
Yeah, I could see him being a part of the
yeah.
Horseman.
Yeah.
There's
Gino
some-
Hernandez too, if we're talking world class.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
that was obviously it would have had been before '85, but yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Adams would have been perfect Horsemen.
Yeah.
Well, I got the associate
Oh.
members that are listed. I was gonna say, which of these associate members would you have liked to see be a horseman? Although two of them don't really count because one is just Big Boss Man in a mask because he's the War Machine. He was just there to job out in the War Games matches they were doing that Great American Bash tour. Then Hiro Matsuda was just their manager, and then that's how they transitioned to being the Yamazaki and eventually I think JTEX. And then you've got Kendall Windham, Butch Reed, Michael Hayes, and David Flair, which I'm shocked he wasn't just actually a horseman back in '99. I thought he was a part of the group when I was a kid, but appears to not be the case.
I'm kind of glad he wasn't.
Yeah. So it looks like really it kind of boils down to just Kendall Windham, Butch Reed, and Michael Hayes. Now, keep in mind that Kendall and Butch, I think the idea of them joining was kicked around because Kendall, that is, turned on, I want to say, Eddie Gilbert. And then according to Wikipedia, he threw up the four, and they thought him and his brother were going to team up. And he hung around Flair and his brother, but they just didn't make him a member because Flair and Barry kept the Horseman name, even though there was just two of them. Butch, I think, would have been a great fit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, Butch.
Hayes, I feel like a lot of people would think, yeah, like Michael Hayes is a layup. I feel like his personality would be too big to just be part of the Horsemen. Plus, he was already Freebird. I don't
Yeah,
really
man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a free bird, not a horseman.
Yeah.
That just gives me kind of like late NWO vibes, like, hey, just add you to it.
Yeah. Is there anyone
Kendall?
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Kendall Windham is interesting to me because, so the West Texas Rednecks, okay, in 1999, all those guys individually were such good wrestlers, I thought. I mean, Bobby Duncombe Jr., up and coming guy, but I was like, I wish they would just give them a serious gimmick and not have them do this comedy thing. But like Kurt Hennig, Barry Windham, Kendall Windham, Bobby Duncombe Jr., I thought that would have made a great stable if they were actually taken seriously. Now, I'm not saying that should have been an incarnation of the Horsemen, but I think Kendall Windham, if they would have given him a run as a Horseman for like 2 or 3 years, that would have been interesting to me. I would have loved to see that.
I wonder why Kendall didn't become a Horseman full-fledged. He just did. I guess part of it is because his brother left probably right after that. Didn't Kendall have to sit down for a minute, do some jail time?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know about that. I have to look that one up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look this up. Let's see. 1989, Kendall teamed with Eddie Gilbert, blah, blah, blah. He turned on Gilbert. He held up the four fingers to the camera. For the next show, Dylan left the Horseman, or WWF, the Horseman name was dropped. So they gave them Hiro Matsuda. They were the Yamazaki Corporation. And then the stable had Butch Reed and Michael Hayes. Then he went to Florida. Yeah.
Wow. So
Kendall and his dad got arrested. Oh, were you about to say that, Lino?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. That's wild. I didn't know Blackjack Mulligan was a part of that too.
Oh, is this the counterfeit money thing that he got arrested for? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, when you mentioned Blackjack, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. It was the counterfeit thing. Yeah, don't mess with money, man.
Yeah. Yeah, don't screw with money whatsoever.
Yeah, Usher.
Ush Bucks, let's go.
That story's wild.
The Usher Bucks is crazy. You know what he should have did was just make some NFTs.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We should make some NFTs, some TAWF NFTs.
Yeah, seriously.
They're just fucking gifts, right?
It's the original creation, the original file.
Okay, all right. Well, I will gladly hand over a couple of the original Photoshops that I've made for TAWF for $500.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Now
this-
you know I always got to ask a wacky question, right?
absolutely.
Who has the biggest hog?
Let's go.
All right, here's the real question: ranking hogs.
Who do you think
Cock
had the
for the
biggest hog?
Horsemen? I don't know. I feel like
JJ
some-
Dillon.
I feel like Ole's probably got a huge cock.
I
You know,
feel like someone surprising would have had like, a fucking heater on him, like Big Barry. They don't call him Big Barry for nothing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if we're counting
I was gonna say
Kurt
Barry.
Hennig, I feel like Hennig probably.
Yeah, I'm thinking Barry. Barry
Yeah.
Windham probably wins that one.
He was a strong, silent type. Chicks loved him. Like he wasn't a big body guy, but chicks really loved him down
Yeah,
in
right.
Florida. And I gotta imagine, like I said, that's why they called him Big Barry. The kid really was hot tonight.
Great questions as always.
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
welcome.
I say, man, if you got any more wacky questions, go ahead and throw them out there, Kaz.
That's the only one I got right now.
Okay, I'm
You
sure.
know,
I'm sure your devious mind will come up with more.
Sure.
I think like some of the crazy ones and that are often forgotten, besides like JJ Dillon, I totally did not even think of any other managers or valets for the Horsemen at all. Like it started to make sense. Oh yeah, woman. But I'm looking through this list and I'm still like, wow, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about Deborah McMichael. Hell, even Bobby Heenan.
Yeah,
But I see he was just the coach though for the Great American Bash. But yeah, and then some of these are just hilarious too, like Double D, Ric Flair's nurse.
who later became Asia instead of China.
Yes, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that's who that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fifi, who is Ric Flair's wife now, Wendy.
Oh no way!
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, he ended up marrying Fifi, which is wild. Tori Wilson, of course, who I think was David Flair's actual real life girlfriend at one point.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it blows my mind that she dated David Flair and then was married to Billy Kidman.
Yeah, I know.
Who, Tori Wilson?
Yeah, and then she dated
And was she with
A-Rod.
George Clooney, wasn't she? Or was that Stacy?
That was Stacey
Stacey.
Keebler.
Stacey.
Yeah. Let's see what other minute. Dark Journey is one of Tully Blanchard's valets. Baby doll.
Tori was with A-Rod Kaz, not to divert.
Oh no.
I think
way.
that's what might have been what you were thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Baby doll I definitely associate with the Horsemen. With the whole well, that shit is crazy. That
Oh,
storyline.
yeah.
I could not imagine them doing something like that now.
Oh,
Obviously.
yeah,
of-
man.
It seems kind of course they wouldn't do something like that now. But
Yeah.
watching on that storyline with modern eyes of Tully Blanchard just straight up slapping her in the face.
Yeah,
that is-
man.
That is wild. Was she
You
supposed
gotta-
to be like his girlfriend or
That's what I thought.
okay? But then like Dusty was like kind of fighting for her love or something in that feud with Tully, even though Dusty straight up said that he was married and had kids.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, man. God, I forgot all about that.
Patty Mullen. What the fuck is Patty Mullen? The biased judge at Clash of the Champions.
Damn that Patty Mullen, the
What?
biggest heel in wrestling history.
Patty Mullen. Is that the judge for the draw with Sting, the 45-minute draw?
I don't know.
Oh,
Biased judge.
yeah, Patty Mullen. I could definitely see why she was a part of the Horsemen. I'm gonna pull up the screen here. So let me share this real quick. Shout out to whoever's Facebook page this is. Now my computer's all laggy. I gotta fast forward some. She was a Penthouse Playmate.
Patty Mullen's
Eh.
Facebook page.
Oh, what the hell?
Rick Ross?
That was weird. Hang on. I'll bring it up again. Gotta get a clear picture of her. She did a lot of, I guess, very unique photo shoots for like Penthouse. And I'll leave it at that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do with that what you will. This is how she looked like back in the day. And then you can see the screenshot here. I'll scroll up. Somewhere.
She
Yeah,
had a
right
love
here.
doll with her.
Yeah.
Oh, is she in Frankenhooker?
Oh, she is.
Oh, that's awesome. No way.
Yeah. Man, take me back to y'all doing crazy movie reviews. Bros, man.
Yeah, man.
Some of the movies y'all review were fucking.
Found some gems. Found some not so good gems.
She was 1988's Pet of the Year for Penthouse. Wow. Prestigious award.
Yeah, man. Congrats to her.
Penthouse is the more like racy magazine, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, I know from research.
She was hot.
Yeah.
She's
Still is hot.
Yeah.
She's a very good-looking lady. If I wasn't a taken man, I would take her out for a nice seafood dinner.
That's right.
Seafood.
Hey, man, we got a nice seafood spot right over here in Livonia, Michigan. Right
Same
off
here,
of-
baby. It's called Red Lobster. All right.
Take that hoe for some cheddar biscuits.
Yeah, man. That's fancy downriver, baby. We're either going to Olive Garden or Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
You guys ever take a hot date to the Olive Garden?
And no.
Maybe in my early 20s when I didn't know any better and I thought that was like fine dining.
No,
Hey, man,
yeah.
you gotta do what you can when you're dating. Let me tell you what, it's definitely all about the effort, man. Like you can't just like it's the effort and the thought. Like a lot of times you could just show up from home with a sack of fucking cheeseburgers. And I'm telling you, if you got a good woman or good partner in your life, they'll probably be cool with that.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on Olive Garden at all. Actually, I rewatched that Virgil entrance video with the Olive Garden photoshopped into it, and it actually inspired me to go to Olive Garden this past weekend. Got the unlimited salad and soup. Oh, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Can't recommend it enough. Shout out Virgil. I wish he was in the Horsemen, so this show I'm full circle right now.
He's a horse from the waist down.
Yeah, man.
Hey, he's got a big hog.
Oh yeah.
Hey, did you guys hear Big Boys has a pizza now?
What?
Yeah. They sell pizza now.
Oh,
Wow.
My buddy at work said it's pretty good.
I have to check it out.
I wonder what compelled them to do that. I guess with the success of Chuck E. Cheese pretending to be a different place on DoorDash.
Yeah, right.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy. There's a bunch of wing places around me. I'm like, what is this? And you look it up. It's like, oh, it's Chili's. They just go and get wings from Chili's and bring them to you.
Are you serious? Wow.
Just wings, I think, is Chili's.
Oh.
I could do a whole podcast on my love of chain restaurants.
Leno is the only millennial keeping him in business.
I
really am.
What are the Four Horsemen of chain restaurants, Lena?
Applebee's.
That's a good question. That is a good question.
Gosh.
Applebee's is in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Applebee's, Olive
yeah.
Garden.
Yeah, has to be.
Do you put Chili's in there? Or is it-
Chili's
rank
is
Chili's in?
whack.
What's
Applebee's
Chili's?
is superior to
'Cause
Chili's.
I feel like Chili's is the Ole Anderson of fast food chains. So if we're talking that incarnation, I would put them in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
Applebee's is Barry Windham. Chili's is Kendall Windham.
Oh man, where do you? Gosh, I was gonna say, do you grab like a pizza place like Pizza Hut or Old Chicago even or Chicago Uno's? I mean, are those still around? I don't even know.
I'm trying to think. Do you throw in like a B-dubs in there?
B-dubs.
B Dubs, yeah, B Dubs is in there.
Pizza Popolis would be Paul Roma, I feel like.
Pizza Popolis. There we go. Yeah.
Like it has potential, but it just doesn't live up to it.
Yeah, pretty much. I would go with that. Yeah.
um, I guess to tie this all back into the Four Horsemen, and this will kind of be what we wrap up on. If you could pick the all of the members of the Horsemen that were in it to build the Ultimate Horseman, which four would you pick?
Oh man. It's almost like kind of do your exemption in the beginning. You can't pick
Yeah, okay.
you can't
would
pick Arn, you can't pick Rick, you can't pick Tully, you can't pick Barry.
Yeah, we can't pick those guys.
Okay. Just based on like how the group would mesh and gel. I
Yeah.
would do. Okay, here we go. I would do. Kurt Hennig would be the main dude. Benoit and Malenko would be the tag team, and then Sid would be their heater.
Oh man. Yeah. That's I was thinking that. I'm looking at the list. I'm like,
Who was the heater?
Sid.
Sid.
Oh, Sid.
Yeah, I thought about doing like a workhorse one where it's just like a bunch of like cocky dudes all together. I was
See,
gonna
I
do
think-
like Jarrett and Kurt Hennig, the combination of that. What were you gonna say, Kaz?
I think Pillman could be a good main dude.
Yeah,
He could
Yeah,
cut a
right.
good promo.
Yeah. I mean, I love Pillman. Pillman, I would put him on my Mount Rushmore of my favorite wrestlers. I don't think he's like, one of the best four wrestlers of all time, but I mean, I love that loose cannon gimmick. But I think like a loose cannon gimmick just doesn't work when you've got a stable of four. But, if he's like flying Brian Pillman, like how he was in the early 90s in WCW, absolutely.
yeah. Although I do kind of like that dynamic of Pillman and the Horsemen because because the Horsemen were crazy motherfuckers. They're wild dudes, but even they were like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? I that was something that I kind of enjoyed. He kind of had that Sonny Corleone kind of vibe to him.
Nice.
But very well spoken, great wrestler. Like everything about him on the surface, like, oh yeah, that makes sense that he would be a horseman. But he was a fucking total psycho, and you didn't know what he was going to do. And I think that's what kind of made that version of the horseman really fun. Fun
Yeah.
tag team with Benoit too. I wish they had a chance to run as a tag team for a little while.
I would go with Pillman as the main guy. Probably Dean, Chris as the tag team, and probably Sid is the heater guy. I mean, you can't go wrong. I'm looking at the list and I can't see like another guy that could be like the muscle besides Sid, really.
I guess Mongo.
Yeah,
Yes,
but he's
for-
so sloppy.
Yeah. I mean, I go Ole, Jeff Jarrett, Mongo, and David Flair.
Oh boy.
I'd say another version that I just thought up that would probably mesh real well would be I go Kurt, Roma, Luger, and then you would probably do like I guess maybe Jarrett. That could work.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
that's man.
I like the combination of Hennig and Jarrett for some reason. I don't know why. Those two just seem like they would really mesh well together, at least when they were like in their primes anyway.
I'm adding Roma to my group, and it's going to be the Five Horsemen.
I respect that.
Booker man.
I was going to say one more question. If you could take one guy from the 80s or early 90s and insert them into the Horsemen, and it could be any era of the Horsemen you want. What guy do you think would have made a perfect Horseman?
Just in WCW.
Anyone that was just around wrestling in the 80s or 90s. Who do you think would make a perfect Horseman?
I mean, all of the 90s,
I said early.
early 90s.
Yeah, just to get a kind of a good fit, a good kind of cutoff point.
That's a hard question.
That's a hard question to answer. Yeah, man.
Steve Austin.
Yeah,
Like
Stunning Steve.
How Stunning Steve? Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. Stunning Steve.
The perfect Horseman.
Terrorizing.
Yes.
he just did the cosplay for Horseman when he was like 30. So you got to do it later on.
Okay, I'm gonna say Scott Hall.
I was thinking Scott Hall at that time.
Young Scott Hall,
but I don't know.
Yeah, young Scott Hall.
Like
teaming with Kurt Hennig, Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I thought about that. I didn't know though. That's so tough. I mean, because you already kind of mentioned like Gino Hernandez would be a cool one to see. Oh, man, that's just trying to pick someone that we didn't already mention previously even.
I feel like DiBiase.
Yeah, right. I was kind of thinking DiBiase would. I like Rick Rude.
Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
You think? I don't know.
In the early 90s? Yeah, he definitely would have fit.
Oh yeah. Early 90s. Yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm getting stuck in the 80s with it.
No, you're good. Another 80s guy that I think might have kind of fit would be Manny Fernandez. Manny Fernandez and Hercules Fernandez, I think, also could have fit as like enforcer type guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I go out of left field and say Bob Backlund. He's like the member that no one likes to hang out with, but you just have him along because like he's a legitimate shooter. Like, man, we don't like him, but
what about ECW Eddie Guerrero?
ECW Eddie Guerrero?
Early 90s Eddie Guerrero.
The Eddie Guerrero that would make swimming motions at the crowds in Mexico, Eddie Guerrero.
yeah. I mean, I'm thinking
yeah.
like
man.
Eddie Guerrero. I'm thinking. So in my head, I'm just picturing that the match that he had with Dean Malenko in ECW, and I'm like, oh man, if those two like were in the Horsemen together around then, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be that. Yeah, man, that would be sweet. Like Dean, Chris, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie
Perry Saturn.
Perry could have worked, I think.
I'm just kidding. I'm just naming the Radicals.
I know, yeah.
No, I think Perry could have worked maybe in like that later version of the Horsemen in the later 90s,
right.
when it was really just Malenko and Benoit.
Yeah.
Kind of just roaming around the tag division. I think he could have worked as like a silent killer type dude. He could have been, again, like their enforcer, even though Benoit and Malenko at that point were basically just the enforcers combined.
I love the Radicals.
The Radicals, fuck, man. The Radicals are so fucking sweet. Zbyszko would have been a good Horseman.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, Zbyszko as a Horseman.
I'm kind of shocked that they called the Dangerous Alliance the Dangerous Alliance. I wonder if they kicked around the idea of just making them the Horsemen.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like a bigger, badder Horseman, more guys. But I'm sure they probably didn't want to saddle those guys with that name, especially because Flair wasn't around, and maybe they wanted to kind of get away from it. But
yeah,
they pretty much were the Horsemen at that point.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like Sabisco. I like having Sabisco in there.
Yeah. The Horsemen, man, what a group.
Seriously, man.
A stable of talent. All of those guys in that group, even the associate members and their managers, is like dollar for dollar. I think most Hall of Fame talent in the group. I mean, I guess what the NWO, like if you want to count them,
Yeah.
you got like
Yeah.
fucking NWO
Gosh.
Japan and shit.
Yeah, right.
And if you do the offshoot groups, you got like the LWO and all that. So like, that would be off the charts. But I think the Horsemen's pretty stacked. One of the most revolutionary entities in pro wrestling history.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you there.
The word on your shirt, Damon, is probably pretty synonymous with the Four Horsemen, huh?
Yes, it is. Here, let me plug this real quick since we're
Yeah, I was
wrapping
gonna
up.
say I want to see it. Is that a long sleeve version?
Oh yeah, it's a crew neck.
Very nice.
Nice.
Cocaine Circus. Even though I hate all Chicago sports teams, the original Cocaine Circus shirt, the only person that owns one is my sister because it was literally just the Chicago Bull that said Cocaine Circus on it. So
So that's
yeah.
a sweater?
Yeah, it's a crew neck
Oh,
sweater.
sweet.
Yeah. So you can cop those at tee.pub/lic/DDT shirts, all lowercase. Go ahead and cop you some. We just
Yes,
got the Detroit wrestling merch on there, all kinds of different what the kids call it, colorways. Yeah, all kinds of
Yeah, man.
colorways on there. Like I did a fucking shoe release. On
Yeah,
there.
man.
And I'll be doing different versions of that design as the months go on. I actually have a couple already cooking up for the holidays.
We need that Nash shirt, brother.
Oh, the Nash one?
Oh man.
Should I drop that on them?
Oh man, that's you got it right now?
Shit. I might have to show it to John after we're done
Oh,
recording because you probably
that's
couldn't
good
see it on
stuff.
my phone. But yeah, I think I could show the people that one. Hang on a second. I think I got it. Oh wait, you know what? The version that I was working on in CanvaCast, I deleted. I just have the original version I made in a different app. So I have to show John after this. But yeah, I could drop that on the people this weekend.
Yeah, I picked up two myself. Really enjoyed them.
Thank you, brother. Shout out to
I got the Michigan State one.
Go Green.
Go White.
I'm sure you enjoy our Twitter picture. Is the Michigan State one?
Oh,
absolutely.
Are we gonna do the tweet of the week thing this week?
Yeah. Do you have it? Do you want to pull it up?
I'm trying to remember. Kaz, were you the one that nominated this one?
Was it the Undertaker one?
yeah, that one.
That one's pretty good.
Oh,
but it's kind of got a video to it, so
yeah, right. Yeah, to get the oh man. Yeah. Hey, we're bringing it all back around to the beginning, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to find it where the mentions here.
Hang on, don't worry, I got it.
Okay, sweet.
So I love that GIF, but I wish it had the entire video when he just like slowly takes his glasses off.
yeah.
Oh, damn it! I thought I had it.
Oh no. Oh man.
I know exactly which one you're talking about, though.
Let me pull up my mentions. It hopefully will pop up. Unless it got deleted somehow already, because I mean it was it was around, it was our humor, you know. Yeah, I don't even have it anymore.
I might be. It's not on Twitter. Well, duh, it's on fucking Twitter, you idiot.
Be kinder to yourself, man.
Maybe I can send the link to Damon.
I got it.
Oh,
okay,
did you?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Hang on.
I didn't know you could get sweaters on TeePublic. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man. Now you can get a lot of stuff. You can get a face mask. You can get a coffee cup, stickers, a banner,
Wow,
basically
really?
anything. Yeah, man. Yeah, you can get a lot of stuff on there. I didn't realize until today the play on words for DDT shirts, and I was like, oh man, it hit me, and I started laughing. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Just I loved it.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy that. I'm surprised more people don't catch on to that. That is DDT shirt.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't. I mean, my mind automatically was like, oh, DDT, and then DT, and then I'm like, oh, that's your initials. That's sweet. Oh, and you're selling shirts, and then I was like, oh, duh,
yeah,
that makes
it's like
total
a
sense.
it's like a triple entendre.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The triple entente. Hang on. It's coming. I had to load it. Thank God we're doing this in post, right? That I can edit this all down. Because this is just fucking great.
We're live,
video
pal.
watching. Yeah. I thought about doing the
Facebook
live
Live.
stream. Yeah, but it would not go well because in moments like this where we're just like looking through shit. But of course I gotta remember to remind myself to actually edit this out when I put the video up.
Did you watch AEW last night and Carl Anderson threw out the "We're live, pal" line
No,
Yeah, I
when they
saw
were
that. I was cracking up.
when they
That's
were all in
awesome.
the truck or whatever?
Uh,
Yes, this is it.
yes. Oh, what a name! At Goalie Blanchard.
Oh wow.
This is really fitting for today's episode.
Yeah, it really ties it all full circle.
Yeah, man. Live shot of the Undertaker after learning Derek Chauvin was found guilty.
Surprised Kane didn't walk out with him.
A couple other people in that locker room. I didn't follow them.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Bradshaw.
Oh fuck! All right, boys. Well, anything else you guys want to cover in closing? I feel like there's
Spay and neuter your animals, your pets.
yeah. There's something else I feel like I wanted to like throw out there real quick. I can't remember it now. You know, the t-shirt store, DD shirts.
Yeah, when wrestling becomes a thing again, I'm really gonna be excited to actually have Tuck Your Chin shirts available again too. So whenever I know there is live wrestling events, but I mean when COVID like really dies down and it's not a hotbed in Michigan.
Shit, dog, your kids are gonna be fucking driving cars by the time it dies down.
Seriously.
Anyway, be safe out there. Enjoy yourself. If you do decide to go to wrestling shows, but again, be safe, be smart.
Be safe. Yeah.
Don't kill yourself just to go to fucking WrestleMania or anything like that.
Yeah. Wear a mask. It's all good.
You know, keep your distance.
Yeah.
And I don't think, man. I feel like there's something like really important happening this week in wrestling. Yeah, I wanted to at least mention it. Oh, Rich Swann, Kenny Omega, title for title is Saturday.
Oh wow, man, time flies. I didn't
Yeah.
even.
Kaz, I know you're real excited for that because you love AEW so much.
Yeah, I mean the match on paper should be good. They didn't even fucking mention it yesterday on AEW. Basically,
Yeah, I
Damn,
don't.
they
man.
barely mentioned it. I don't even think they did mention the match.
I really, not to prolong the episode, but it like, what's Impact's getting out of this? That's my whole thing this whole time. Like, I'm genuinely honest and wondering. Besides, like, okay, yeah, it's still publicity and whatnot, but what is Impact really getting out of any of this with this team up with AEW?
Didn't Tony Khan mention some shit about how he actually pays for the ads on Impact? I mean, of course, he could be working, you know, he
Yeah.
could be fucking with people, but I think they did like a little TV spot, just like a little tiny TV spot for AEW or the Impact show on AEW. But none of the women, none of the tag teams, besides I think, no, Private Party went to Impact. I thought they were Impact for a second, but no one from Impact has really come over to AEW
Yeah,
besides the
man.
Good Brothers.
Yeah.
I forgot they weren't even the tag champions there anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more from this. And
I guess maybe that's the point of it, to make you think like, oh, AEW is kind of like using Impact, and Impact's getting nothing out of it, and then Impact wrestlers are gonna get sick of it and then finally invade because it's gonna
that'd
be
be cool.
boiling point.
All right.
I know Tommy Dreamer kept mentioning that AEW was gonna get there sooner than later, so maybe this is what they're doing on purpose. But not to make it seem like we shit on AEW all the time, but I feel like yeah, I feel like a lot of
I
times there's a lot of storyline elements that either kind of fall by the wayside, or you got to watch like 5 million other different things to really
To catch up on them.
sort of make
Yeah.
sense.
I've watched both the past 2 weeks. I've watched episodes live fully from front to back, and the show is just, it's raw. It's as bad as Raw to me. It's not very good. Like every match, the ending seems like there's always some bullshit that has to happen after every match, or run
Yeah.
in, or this or that. And it's just like yesterday's episode was just not good. I don't know if you guys watched it, but besides the MJF like promo he cut, that was amazing. But like, I don't know. It's Raw. It's Monday Night Raw. To me.
Slightly shorter.
That's a
Yeah.
bummer.
I will say now I remember what I wanted to bring up, because this is something that was just so weird and so random. People giving Kyle O'Reilly shit for wearing a denim jacket and sunglasses on NXT, because apparently,
Because of Orange Cassidy.
yeah, apparently like other white dudes with beards can't wear denim jackets and sunglasses. Like,
Yeah, man.
and I was like, he's Canadian, dude. Like Canadian dude.
He's
That's their
born with a denim jacket.
yeah, like that's just their thing. And you might say, well, the sunglasses are too much. I'm like, if you go type Kyle O'Reilly sunglasses into Google, the first image of him wearing sunglasses is from like 7 years ago at ROH. That's just how he
Yeah,
dresses.
man. Nah,
Yeah,
that's the one
weird.
thing too. I almost can guarantee both those wrestlers probably don't give two shits. Like they didn't think anything of it, and it's basically just fans probably, being.
It got to such a point. Kyle O'Reilly posted about it on Instagram and said, apparently, you know, I'm the there's other people in the world that are allowed to wear denim jackets. Apparently, I'm not allowed to wear one.
It's
Yeah.
members only.
Yeah, he should start wearing a members only jacket. The fucking
Hell
sleeves
yeah.
rolled up like Don Johnson.
That's what I want to do. I want to create a stable of members only guys.
Well, if you start wearing members only jackets, you might start partaking in the substance that's on my shirt.
I mean, back to AEW, I'm gonna keep watching it because it's got to get good, right?
Oh yeah, I think that's the way with a lot of wrestling, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna find some stuff that you like, and then that's been my whole issue with a lot of the shows. Just even recently was the length of time, and yet it's like, man, only one match out of all of this that I really liked. Like I feel like I wasted time.
It seems
Yeah.
like the matches don't mean anything really on AEW. Like they just happen.
Yeah,
Then some bullshit happens at the end, and then it just goes to like the next segment. It's like they don't stick to a certain storyline for too long. Like they go through storylines way too quick or something. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, or they drag on for too long, and like the Hangman Page thing, he's still like lost or can't figure his shit out. Like when they asked him questions about the Elite and all that, he ignored it. I don't know, like I guess like it's cool that they have a wrestler that has anxiety and uh issues with his friends, because so many people can identify with that. But at the same time, it's like Hangman Page is a really talented wrestler. They asked him about when he's going to challenge for the heavyweight title against Kenny Omega, and he just ignored it. That doesn't make me want to see that match. Like I'm not excited to see that match. Like
yeah, right.
I really personally don't care whatever they're gonna do to try to get him to snap out of it and become more serious to get a title shot. Like, are the elite, the fucking ammo club, gonna beat the shit out of the Dark Order guys, and that's what's gonna make Hangman want to get a title shot? I don't care enough to like watch that through. I just I like Adam Page as a wrestler. I like a lot of those guys as wrestlers. I just the way that they're trying to get us to the big Omega Adam Page match. Like I don't care. It's not really what I want to see. That's not the that's not the train that I want to ride to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's also like what John was just saying. Like Kenny Omega is their champ, and he's about to wrestle Rich Swann, and they're gonna what? It's just for the Impact title, correct? Or is it for both?
It's for both.
yeah, it's supposed to be for both.
Okay,
We know
so is
Kenny's
it gonna?
win.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, it's like they haven't even like put a lot of effort into that storyline at all.
Yeah, like Swan hasn't come to AEW to like scout, make an appearance,
Yeah.
Yeah,
get an
right.
interview.
Yeah. Even if what you're talking, totally makes sense to me, that it's gonna like be this kind of backfired moment, and then Impact invades or whatever you want to say. I think more could be done with it. I think Rich Swann. Why wouldn't you want to be there? Rich Swann pays for his ticket to AEW or something. Make some more bullshit out of it. Like, oh man, the way they're treating Impact, it's just there's not a level of respect there. Because to me, even as a fan, like it feels disrespectful. It doesn't. I don't like it. Like I'm like, all right, what you're telling me, what you're showing me anyway, whether you are trying to or not, is that you're making it look like Impact's just not on the same level as you guys. That it's like, oh hey, we're just gonna joke around with TNA, and that's it. And I don't like
Yeah,
it.
like
It feels
Moxley made fun of them when the bomb thing happened. It's like they do nothing but get shit on, but like all the wrestlers are doing is just like there's the scene from Atlanta and the jail where Donald Glover goes, "I'm just sitting here." That's what it feels like Impact's doing. It's like
yeah,
I'm just sitting here, and they just talk shit. They just make them jokes. Like, they make little jokes about them. They get nothing out of it.
Like
yeah,
in
man.
kayfabe as well. Like, isn't Don Callis like the fucking
Like
main
executive
dude
vice president or something
of
too.
Yeah,
Impact?
Yeah,
yeah. He like legitimately helps run part of Impact.
Yeah, it's just a weird. I don't know. The way it's been booked is just, I don't know, kind of dog shit. It doesn't feel like an invasion angle, and they could
yeah,
have
right.
easily made it feel like that.
Yeah. I really, I mean, you can't go back, but I really do wish that they made this a little bit more important of the crossover. There's no reason why Rich Swann shouldn't be showing up in AEW to get prepared for his match with Kenny. Like, I mean, even real life, like MMA and boxing, just the spectacle that goes on before the fight. Like, you can't tell me, this is supposed to be pretty damn important. These are two heavyweight champions going up against each other, and yet it doesn't feel like that. It's a little, I don't know. I don't know. I not, oh man, here we go again. Not shitting on I'm not shitting on the product, but like, just I
I
want a
am.
level of respect to it, I guess, is what it is. Like mutual respect. And it's this stuff this is what reminds me of like WCW partnerships with all the other companies and back in the day, that it was just like, oh hey, yeah, these guys show up, this is great, but they're jobbed out here in WCW, or they don't, they're around their partners, yet no one gives a shit. So I'm feeling the same energy right now with this AEW Impact and like AAA even. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I say, I compare AEW Dynamite to Raw, and Raw is absolute dog shit. It is not. It's not good. It's not
Really
good.
not.
And
Really not.
I don't know. I've watched AEW the past 2 weeks, and I'm not just trying to shit on the product. I'm trying to get into it, but it just, I don't know. I can't. Like that from yesterday. There was like a QT Marshall versus, who was it? Billy Gunn, maybe. I
Oh,
think.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Gold Dust does this run in, and because that ramp is so short there in Daly's place, he like just kind of like jogged out of the rampway, and, to do this run in.
It's like the green screen run on movies that you get with
Yeah,
people.
it didn't look like he was seriously like trying to get into the ring to get to QT Marshall. He just kind of like, just
Took his
slowly,
time.
yeah, took his time to get into the ring. He had this bull rope in his hand. It just, I don't know. I just pick up on little shit like that, but AEW's trying to make their product look like WWE. I never bought into the fact that they were competing with NXT. They wanna be the new big dog on the block, and I don't know. I don't see it. It's Raw and Dynamite are just one and the same to me. They're both dog shit to me. I can't get into it. SmackDown and Raw are two totally different shows.
Yeah, I agree. They are, the way they're presented are different, which is weird because they're all kind of decided by the same person. But
Yeah, that's just crazy how that goes, man.
we keep watching it though. Like drug addicts, we got to get our fix.
I got to get the fix.
I
Because, like I
watch
said,
wrestling at least once a week, probably at least partially live anyway. Like I usually will watch an entire NXT. That's usually what I make appointment watching for. But yeah, I don't give a fuck that the Young Bucks are wearing Nike Dior's. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about that. I do not care about that. I don't care when they do like the whole thing of like them like tweeting jerk off motion and all that shit. Like they're
That
supposed
shit's
to be
so old.
It's not
Like
even.
their whole gimmick is so played out.
It's not. It's like I get that they're supposed to be like trying to work people up, but like you said, it's played out. I feel like I've been watching them do that for like 10 years, and I just don't give a shit. Look, their matches are fine, but I just don't care. I really don't care. Like, it's not fun for me to watch. Like I I typically am kind of indifferent now about watching Young Bucks matches. Like I watched the tag title match and then I wasn't really into it, which is shocking because on paper you would think would be an awesome match, but I would say probably the last Young Bucks match that I was really excited for. I think maybe the ladder match with the Lucha Bros for the AAA tag titles. I maybe I was excited for Kenny and Hangman versus the Young Bucks. I don't know. I just feel like I've been so indifferent towards them for the last few years. And I know I've
Yeah.
talked about that on the show at length. So
They mentioned something in their promo last night, and they're talking about the Elite, like we're the guys that put New Japan back on the map or something like that. Like we're the guys everybody blah blah blah. Like even their whole shtick is just everyone wants to be us and we're the this and that. Like whatever.
all right, boys. Well, thanks for chatting with me for almost 2 hours about some pro wrestling. I
yeah,
appreciate it. Um, Hopefully next week we can say more glowing and positive things about the world of wrestling.
that's right. Yeah, support
We should-
local, support indie.
Support local. That's right. We should do an episode where we just are positive the entire time. You know what we should do? How about this? I'll put it out there now, and we'll hold ourselves to it. Next week, we'll do like name association. We'll just pick random names, random wrestler names, and when the name comes out, you have to say something positive about them.
I
Sounds
like
good.
that.
Yeah, no matter who they are, you have to say something positive about them. So that way we don't feel like we're constantly shitting on everything. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. While the power of positivity flows through us, we want to thank everybody out there for listening to us. Make sure you rate us on iTunes and all that jazz. Follow us on Podbean and follow us on YouTube. We're all over everything. So make sure you follow us. We're TA Wrestling Fan on fucking every social media channel. We're on Hinge, Bumble, TikTok, you name it, we're on it. So check us out.
Join our Discord.
Join the Discord. If you need a link, it'll be in the description of however you're watching this or listening to this. So jump in there, talk to us about wrestling, send us passive aggressive messages about how we ignore what you say. And, tuck your chin, brother.